February the 17th, 2014. These are SETI-A images. They're one day newer than what we saw last night, guys. Each day they will process the images and put them up. And you'll notice also in the dates, they're about 2 days old because it takes around 24 hours for these to be processed and put up to where the public can see these on the satellite imaging. But this is Comet Linear as it dives in. Now it's diving fast, you notice that? But it's not supposed to reach the ecliptic until around probably the 20th of May, and then we go through the debris field after it goes down in front of us, remember, on the starting on the 23rd through the 25th, with the peak on the 24th. Now it's also visible here on this SETI camera. It's not as easy to spot, but notice I'll put up the box here. Notice it come into the right top, but there it is right there. Again, this is a little harder, but notice it come in to the right there, guys. That's the same image, just a different camera on this satellite. Now, I had this question from my buddy Matt down in Macomb about the positioning of the satellites, and you see stereo A and B are on the opposite side of the sun as the Earth. Now, everything's moving in a counterclockwise rotation. That's the orbit of Mars. You don't see it there. They're just showing the section, but that outer line. But with A, it's ahead of Earth in its orbit looking back. B is behind Earth looking forward. Now, on that SETI camera, what you're seeing, and I'll put in the orbit of Mars there in the white arrows, is Mars and linear. See that? That's your angle. Now, you're seeing Venus come in to the bottom right. Your bottom right where Venus is. Earth will be visible as it moves in, but it's kind of behind Venus and just on the edge of the camera right there. But that's where A and B is now. On Stellarium, notice we're at 209p linear. There are several linear comets because it's named after the observatory that found it, just like there's different Lovejoy comets, guys, and you'll see other names like that. But this is today's date, 17th. Notice we're looking east. This is at 10:15 a.m. in the morning, sun to the right. Comet Linear is right there. So if you're looking at it, what you're going to notice, you won't be able to see it because it's daylight first, but you can move this arrow for your location anywhere in the world, and it will change it. You notice when I moved it over into Asia, it went into nighttime, but I've got it set for my location looking east where the sun rises. Now you may have to enter linear into Stellarium if it has not been updated, and I will link a video I did a few months ago about how to add comets to Stellarium, and I will link to that video. It goes back, shows you step by step if it's not in your particular version of Stellarium. Now, as you guys that have watched Stellarium, when you click it on, it's going to be moving because it'll come on to the current time that's current to where you've set your location. But you can speed that up and fast forward, and that's what I've done here. And see, guys, notice that it's not going down below the horizon here in the northern hemisphere. Especially now, I'm about 120 miles inland from the Gulf of Mexico in central Mississippi. So, then that's because it's diving down at Earth. You see what I'm saying? Now, it's not rotating in that circle. The Earth is rotating. It's in a straight dive. Now, as it gets real close in May, it will appear the circle widens, but it isn't. It's just that it's getting closer, and it will start to dip below the horizon. Then I've sped it up, notice here, to May the 23rd. That's when we enter into the debris field. Now, I've turned off, and you can do this on Stellarium, the horizon, and I turned off the atmosphere of the Earth, which makes the sun appear as a star, but it's actually daylight. Now, notice it has dipped because, again, the circle hasn't widened. It's just gotten closer, and it's the Earth that's moving. I'll turn back on the horizon and the atmosphere. That's what I'm talking about, guys. It's actually right here now. We're on the 23rd. This is when we enter the debris field. Now, they're only giving one chart, which they may have put it at the peak on the 24th of the exposed side of Earth, but it can't be very correct because it's a 30-hour event. The Earth will have rotated 1.4 times. Now, again, I'm going to speed this up, guys, and watch. because of the closer proximity, we'll be dipping below the horizon again. There, you see it come up. Here we are on the 24th. This is the day of the thickest debris, according to their debris field charts. And I have the atmosphere turned off. It's daylight. Remember that. We're on the morning. As we go through this. Now, into the 25th. This is the day that we will be leaving the main part of the debris field. But it depends on how far that debris field tracks back. May have a day or two after that of smaller debris. But guys, this could be a very important event. Now, what they're not talking about, and I think this is very important, are the possibility of impact events. This is the Carolina Bays. You've seen this before in one of the videos. In the Carolina Bays, this is infrared. It says many of the events are dated about 12 to 13,000 years apart. And that matches the half cycle of the Earth's passage through the galactic plane. Now, notice on the edges there where the banks are pushed up, the largest of these is about 9,000 acres there in Carolina, but it's all across the eastern board. Now, the Native Americans in there has been handed down as this is called the Land of the Falling Star. This is Columbus County, and that it was the Native Americans that had that handed down tradition. But again, you can notice that one side of these craters are pushed up. And I had someone ask me about that. This is about 300 square miles there, guys, that particular image. And these are old, back in the 40s, some of these, the black and white ones. But again, impact events about every 12 to 13,000 years. It's showing that they evolved through multiple phases of activity and inactivity over tens of thousands of years. It's evidenced by multiple rims and different dating of the substances there. But guys, notice on this lake at the top, where the water is not inside the entire crater, and I've had people say that they've been around these lakes and you couldn't see a difference in the one side or the other as far as one side being pushed up, because the water's not always inside completely filling the crater. And something about this event also catches my eye. Notice how we maintain the visual on comet linears that came in. It stayed above our horizon. The same thing happened 12,000 years ago when the Native Americans there saw this coming. And then they had this huge meteor storm. It burn up the forest, killed species of animals. They had to hide in caves and in the mud. But when they came out, they still saw something going away from Earth. Like the main object didn't strike, but it had a large debris field. And this is where they think it impacted. You can see this. It's called the Saginaw Crater. And then scattered left and right. You see that, guys? Again, that was one particular event. Now, the largest is in the, what you see right here off Virginia in the Chesapeake Bay. That's a huge crater. And all the rivers curve right before they get into the ocean. Now, this is what some of the maps are saying that the debris direction will come from. Of course, down from the top over Russia, you see that, and down through part of China and over and coming out at Sumatra, just as the other ones have. And it reminds me again of the 1490 comet. The astronomers in Korea, China, Japan saw something coming for days and days. Then it wiped out the Chinese fleet. It hit south of Australia. 600, 700-foot tsunamis with the ships that they're still finding that were not only up in the caves in the mountains, but were burned and turned upside down, showing it was not just a tsunami, but it was a fire event also. It's called the Australian tsunami, and it was from this comet C-1490. Again, they saw it coming, just like we're going to see this one coming, and they saw it. All of it didn't hit in one place because it exploded over different islands. Some hit in the ocean. Some exploded over islands, causing like the Tukhonsky event in Russia. But here it says stones fell like rain, killing more than 10,000 people. Some of the records say more than that. Some say less. And they tried to match it up with at JPL with the some of it possibly being part of the meteor showers now that we see. But it says stones fell like rain in the Qingyang district. The larger ones were 4 to 5 catis, about 1.5 kilograms, and smaller ones were about 1 kilogram. Numerous stones rained in Qingyang. Says the sizes were different. The larger ones were like goose eggs. The smaller ones were like water chestnuts. More than 10,000 people were struck dead. Now, the timing was in the spring. Also, it was, they're saying the third lunar month of 1490, which translates as March 21st to April 19th, 1940. Now, you can pause this and read any part of it, guys. They talk about it probably being part of the quadrant meteor shower may have originated. But there's an argument there, but we have talked about it before, and it does originate from the same direction. But, guys, this time we're going every 5 years as this thing rotates around. Many, many times it's not near Earth. But this time it is. It's passing just in front of us. They're talking about it was the evidence of tsunami and fires in New Zealand. This is what I'm talking about. And a mega tsunami because of the impact. What is certain is that the Maihuki tsunami destroyed huge Chinese fleets. That Maihuki means God of Fire. Now that's it says the fleets, the Chinese fleets in New Zealand, South and East Australia, and the Indian Ocean along the east coast of South Africa, and the Pacific coast of North and South America. That's how widespread they were. They had almost taken over the earth. But with their navy destroyed, that ended that. But what did happen is these ships washed up around the globe, and it wasn't a total flood. It was, but in the Pacific Ocean, there was a lot of impact. But they have found tribes with heavy Chinese DNA in many of the areas where it washed up. So there were survivors. But it is, again, it was called the God of Fire. That's what they called it. And it would be, if you imagine that, without the technology we have today with the satellites that we see. They were strictly, again, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean astronomers. And when you're looking at Stellarium, we're going to see this thing diving at us like that, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.